The next question to be solved, the class table or the frequency table is already given to you. It starts with 10 to 15 and the uppermost class interval is 30 to 35, and these are the number of workers working for per hour wages. So the question asks you to construct a frequency polygon with, first is using a histogram and second is without using the histogram. So first let's do the histogram part. On my x-axis I have wages per hour, and on my y-axis I have number of workers. I'm using the short form. So 10 to 15 is 40, so that's and 15 to 20 is 70, so that's okay. Please make sure that the width of each of these bars is exactly equal. 20 to 25 is 60, so that's 25 to 30 is 80. Once again, it should actually coincide with the line that marks 30. 30 to 35 is 60. Right? To construct a frequency polygon after you have plotted, rather to plot a frequency polygon after you have constructed the histogram is pretty easy. Let's use, say, the green thing. You point out all the midpoints of the histogram bars and you connect it with a straight line. Remember, use a scale, so you'll get neat straight lines. And you join it to the base, to the class interval, midpoint of class interval before 10 to 15, and join it to the base on the right hand side to the midpoint of the next class interval, which is 35 to 40. Okay, once again, okay, let me just correct this. Still not right. Better. Right, so these are all connected with straight lines. This is how you would construct a histogram followed by a frequency polygon. Now suppose you do not have the frequency polygon, or rather you do not want to waste time constructing a histogram. What you can do is find the class midpoint. Okay, to find the class midpoint, lower limit plus upper limit divided by 2. So that will be 25 by 2, which is 12.5. So your class interval, class midpoint is 12.5 here. And the next class interval would be, you can either use the same formula or just keep adding the class width, which is 5. So 12.5 plus 5 is 17.5, plus 5 is 22.5, 24.5, I'm so sorry, 27.5, 27.5 and 32.5. Alright, so if the histogram is not meant to be plotted and you just want to directly get the frequency polygon, locate 12.5 on the x-axis and mark 40 on the y-axis. If I were to show that, I think I will just erase the, right? Right. So once again, I'm sticking to the green. So 12.5 would be around here. 12.5, 40. 17.5 and 70. 22.5 and 60. Sorry, that's 22.5 will be in between 20 and 25. The next is 27.5, which is 80, and 32.5, once again 60. So, and join to the base to the point 7.5 over in the left hand side and 37.5 on the right hand side. If you compare both the diagrams, you will see that with and without the histogram, the frequency polygon looks the same. So the only additional thing that you have to do is calculate the class midpoints. The next asks you to find the number of workers who receive less than minimum wages, where the minimum wages is rupees 25 per hour. So I have copied down the class interval and the number of workers. To find the number of workers receiving less than 25, I need to construct the less than ogive, and to do that I need to find cumulative frequency. Since it's the less than curve, I will be adding up from the top, right? So number of workers receiving less than 15 is 40. Wages less than 20 is 40 plus 70, which is 110. Receiving wages less than 25 is 110 plus 60, which is 170. Receiving wages less than 30, 170 plus 80, which is 250. And receiving wages less than 35 will be 250 plus 60, which is 310. Right? The question asks you to find the number of people receiving less than rupees 25 per hour per day, and that you can find by looking over here. It is 170. Workers receive less than minimum wages. You can also, now remember such questions, if they are long questions, see if the question asks you to plot the less than curve. If it is only asking you for the number, as is in this case, you are getting the number directly from this cumulative frequency column. If not, say something like, now this is an example, say the minimum wages was something like 27.5 or 27, you will be forced to plot the graph. Okay, let me just repeat that. Depending on the question, you can decide whether or not you want to actually draw the less than ogive. Here, they haven't explicitly mentioned it in the question, and the value that we are interested, that is number of workers earning less than rupees 25 per hour, can be directly read off the cumulative frequency column in the frequency table. So you are not required to draw the less than ogive. Under two circumstances you have to draw. The first is that it is explicitly mentioned, and second is that if, suppose for example, the minimum wages is something like rupees 27, so you cannot read the value of or the number of workers directly off the table, so construct the less than ogive. Remember, in the less than ogive you will plot the numbers, cumulative frequency column, against the upper limit. So I have less than 15, we have 40 workers. So that's around here. Less than 20 is 110 workers. So a little above 100. Less than 25 is 170. So less than 30 is 250. Less than 35 is 310. Right, so join these points with a straight line. And here, once you've joined it with a straight line, if your scale is correct, you can always find, suppose, like I said in the example, suppose you want to find out people earning less than 27. So this would be 27. So something like that. And say around 175 people earn less than 27 rupees per hour, or less than minimum wages. Now if you notice, the last bit says that the minimum wages legislation was passed so that those who receive less than rupees 25 per hour are considered underpaid. You have been asked to calculate the percentage of workers who are receiving the least subsistence wages. Receiving at least subsistence wages. So at least subsistence wages would mean they are receiving either rupees 25 per hour or more. So in such a situation, you know that 170 workers out of the total are receiving less than rupees 25, which means those who are getting at least 25 per hour are 310 minus 170, which is equal to 140. And don't forget, it asks you to find the percentage of workers receiving at least minimum wages. So remember to convert 140, so percentage of workers getting at least 25 per hour is equal to 140 divided by 310 into 100, which is equal to and that's the final answer.